Well, I want to talk about this a little more. The last couple of weeks, you mentioned that inventory has just ticked up a hair here in the Triad. Still low, but at least headed in the right direction. Is that trend continuing? How is that affecting buyers in the market who maybe have been sitting on the sidelines? Where does that stand today?
Yeah, and well, the real benefit to people that are actually in the market is the home buyers that have been struggling to get an offer accepted because there's 20 on every house. Mm-hmm. As inventory comes up, we'll start to see that dwindle, right? Because we're going to start dividing up the pie. So maybe you're only competing against 10 people now as opposed to 20, or maybe it's 5. I don't know. Every house is going to be different. But one of the nice things in seeing that inventory start to climb, now I guess let me back up. Before let's get into all that, let's don't jump into any conclusions that the end is near. Okay, so because people hear what they want to hear, but then sometimes they don't hear it all, and then you tune me out for some reason and you only picked up part of what I said. So what we're seeing in this inventory trend up is actually very, very typical for the market in the Triad. And so don't take one of my little sound bites and dice it up and say, whatever, but don't listen to the sound bite doom and gloomers out there that are spewing all over, the market's crashing. It's not crashing. There's no indication at all from the data. And that's really what we need to look at is the data over the course of several years. And when you do that, you can easily see that what we're seeing right now is perfectly normal. When school starts in the Triad market, this happens all the time every year. I went back and looked over the last pretty much decade, as far back as the computer would let me dig in without going into the archives, if you will. But when school starts, we start to see, just a little bit of inventory, come up. I mean, it's just really typical. And so, there's some people out here that are watching those numbers going, oh my gosh, 600, we have 600 more houses on the market this month than last month. Oh my gosh. Well, okay, it sounds like a lot, but we're also a population of about 1.4 million people. So here's what I say. Go get 6 $100 bills and then go get 1,880,000 $100 bills, right? And you look at which pile's bigger, right? And so just 600 homes is really just a drop in the bucket when you're looking at the population of the entire Triad. It's 12 different counties. It's 3 major cities. But there are some people out here talking about, oh my gosh, the end is near because 600 more homes are on the market. Actually, that's a blessing. It's wonderful news, especially for those of you who have been fighting to get a house. So more options means more options, which is good, and maybe less competition. So, the only time that I actually saw inventory drop over the last 10 years was in 2011. And that was still, as you remember, we had a crash in 2018, and there's that little bit of lag. Actually, our market didn't really fall off the cliff in 2008. It was actually 2011, 12, and 13 is when the Triad really started to see some downward movement. So, that's not terrible. One out of 10 years, and it was also in probably the worst time on the market. The other thing you have to know is what was the mindset of the homeowner back then. You got to remember, you put your house on the market in March, ready to get it sold, and here it is. It's August. The kids are going back to school, and your house still hadn't sold yet, and you're like, forget it. I'm just done until next year. I can't tell you how many hundreds of times, and if you look at the data, you would see it was thousands of homeowners actually took their homes off the market in 2011 for that reason. Because the average time to sell a home back then, Keith, believe it or not, I couldn't even believe this was accurate. I actually had to check 2 sources. Average days on the market in August of 2011, 13 months.
Now it's 13 months. 13 hours, basically.
It feels like 13 hours. Actually, the current days on the market right now in the entire Triad, all price ranges, 4 days.
Wow, 4 days.
So 4 days compared to 13 months, okay? So psychologically different model, right? Different things. So that's why we got to look at this data over long periods of time. So if you have questions, go to jasonbramblett.com. You can always call the office, and do not forget, we are still hiring. We're still expanding. We just actually opened up Asheville this week, which is really cool. So we are putting together some agents in the Asheville market, but we still need agents right here in the Triad. And so if you're interested in real estate, or you are maybe a real estate agent that is struggling, give us a call, 553-0796. We have a very lucrative compensation model. We offer insurance, retirement plan, all that stuff, and we'd be happy to discuss that with you. So if you hear me and you're in North Carolina, give us a call.